Most powerful lessons hidden in childhood fairy tales. 1. Cinderella, a story of a soft-hearted girl. Cinderella narrates how she is treated cruelly by her stepsisters and stepmother. Even after being treated awfully, she was kind and humble. One day, the king threw a ball and invited all the kingdom's young women. Cinderella helped her sisters prepare for the ball, but wasn't asked to attend it with them. As they left, her fairy godmother appeared. She got a beautiful makeover with magic and goes to the ball. But the magic will last only until midnight. She entered the ball and caught the eyes of the prince, and they danced all night. As the clock turned 12, she left the ball in a hurry. While leaving, one of her glass slippers fell off her foot. The prince found it and decided to marry the person the slipper belonged to. He looked for her in every house and finally reached Cinderella's place. Though her mother and sisters tried to keep her away from the prince, the slipper fitted perfectly. She married the prince and lived happily ever after. 2. Beauty and the Beast. This is the story of a beautiful young girl. Bella, a beast, imprisoned her father in a castle. She went to the beast to take the place of her father. The beast let her father go and held her prisoner. Initially, she was frightened by the beast, but later realized that the beast treated her with kindness. She found that her father was sick and begged the beast for her freedom with a promise to return. On the way to her father, she was held up by Gaston, an evil man who wanted to marry her. When villagers found out about the beast, they decided to kill him and burn the castle. The beast nearly died, but turned into a handsome prince because of Bella's love. Later, it was found that the beast was a prince cursed by a witch he treated disrespectfully. In the end, Bella and the prince married and lived a happy life together. 3. The Candy Fairy. Once there was a candy fairy who had all sorts of candies in different colors. She rewards nice children with candies. She was kind and loving. One day, she went to a village, Rose. She disguised herself as a poor old lady. She met little Tit and Zion while she was sitting under a tree. Tit stopped by and asked if she was okay. She said she was hungry. He gave her the loaf of bread their mother had asked them to buy from the market. The lady ate the bread, thanked them, and walked away. Later, they went home. Zion told the story, and his mother didn't scold them. Instead, she said it was a good deed, and everything was okay. We can drink milk if we have no bread. Suddenly, someone knocked. She opened the door and found a basket full of candies and a letter from a candy fairy showing gratitude for the help. 4. The Sleeping Beauty. It is the story of Princess Aurora. During her christening, the king and queen invited fairies. Her parents did not invite an evil witch, so she cursed that the princess would die from the prick of a spinning wheel. Spindle. There were other good fairies at the christening. One of them helped her and modified the curse. When she is pricked, she will fall asleep for 100 years. All the fairies blessed her. She grew and became a beautiful, obedient princess. On her 16th birthday, as predicted, she was pricked by a spindle and fell asleep along with all the men and women of the castle. After 100 years, a young prince tried to get into the castle to see the famous Sleeping Beauty. He was stunned when he found her and leaned to kiss her. It broke the curse, and everyone in the castle awoke. They both married and lived a peaceful life. 5. Hansel and Gretel. Once, a brother and sister lived. Hansel and Gretel. Their mother died, and their father then married another woman. She oppressed them, made them work the whole day, and gave them little food to eat. So one day, they both ran away into the woods, where they found a hut made of candies and chocolates. There lived an old witch who promised them good food, chocolates, and soft beds. When they went inside the hut, she imprisoned Hansel and decided to make soup for her meal. She asked Gretel to do the household chores. The witch then boiled water to make Hansel into soup. Gretel pushed her into the boiling water. They found treasure in the hut, and taking it, were never hungry again. 6. Rapunzel. A poor old couple stole fruits from a neighbor's garden. The neighbor, a witch, demanded their child for the theft. The couple agreed and gave their daughter when born to her. She was named Rapunzel by the witch. She was kept in a tower with no way in or out. She grew up beautiful with long hair. When the witch wanted to see her, she would ask Rapunzel to let down her hair and climb up the tresses. One day, Rapunzel was singing and caught the attention of a young prince. He learned the secret of Rapunzel. At first, she was shocked at seeing him, but later fell in love with him. When the witch found out, she cut Rapunzel's hair and threw her into the wild. The prince was blinded by thorns and lamented for his love. Then, one day, the prince heard her voice, and they found each other. They both cried with joy, and the tears from her eyes fell on the prince's eyes, restoring his sight. They both lived happily ever after. 7. Little Mermaid. There was an underwater kingdom where there was a little mermaid. She longed to become human and to observe things on the surface. She rescued a handsome prince from drowning and fell for him one day. So, she visited a sea witch to become human at any cost. The sea witch asked for her voice to give her legs and warned that she would become a mermaid again if the prince didn't marry her. She went to the prince, but at first, he didn't recognize her. Also, other suitors wanted to marry him. She faced all the challenges and married the prince in the end. 8. The Princess and the Pea. Once, a prince wanted to marry a princess. He traveled far in search, but never figured out whether the girl was a real princess or pretending to be one. Then, on a rainy night, a girl knocked on the door, searching for shelter. She was drenched and claimed to be a princess. His mother gave her shelter and decided to test whether she was a princess or not. She put a pea on her 20-layered mattresses. The next morning, she woke up and complained about the uncomfortable mattresses. Instantly, they knew that she was a princess. Only a princess could be so sensitive to feel a pea under mattresses. So the prince got married to her, and they lived happily for the rest of their lives. 9. Pinocchio and the Fairy. Once, a carpenter named Geppetto. He carved the figure of a young boy out of wooden logs and named him Pinocchio. A good fairy made the puppet come alive, and he took him as his son. Geppetto wanted Pinocchio to go to school, but the boy met an evil puppet master who wanted to use Pinocchio for money one day. The master asked him to go to Theffon Island to become a real boy. As Pinocchio started walking with the master, the good fairy overheard them. She asked Pinocchio where he was going. He lied and his nose grew. Every time he lied, his nose grew. He became sad at seeing this and wept. Finally, he told the truth and apologized to the fairy. Seeing how sorry he was, the good fairy restored his nose to its normal size. One version of the story ends with Pinocchio turning into a real boy and reuniting with Geppetto. 10. Princess Rose and the Golden Bird. In a faraway kingdom, there was Princess Rose. She had a longing for a red rose. So every evening, she went out to the balcony, clapped her hand, and a golden bird flew out of nowhere and sat on her shoulder. Her hair began to shine red. She sang a lullaby, and everyone in the village fell asleep and had good dreams. One day, an evil witch discovered this and cast a magic spell on her. That evening, her hair turned black, and that day, everyone fell asleep after the lullaby but had bad dreams. So, the princess asked the golden bird for help. The bird advised applying rose water to her hair. The next day when she sang, her hair turned red, and everyone had a good dream. When the witch found out, she cast another spell and stole all the roses from the kingdom. Princess Rose began to cry. At that time, a prince came with a string of red hair. Her tears fell on the hair, and they became a rose. She put the petals in water, applied them to her hair, breaking the spell. When asked, the prince said, "She gave me a sign of loyalty, and I gave her mine." The king announced their marriage. For her wickedness, the witch died, and roses once again bloomed in the kingdom. 12. The Frog Prince. There was a king who had beautiful daughters. The youngest daughter used to play near a deep pond. One day, her golden ball fell into the pond. It was deep, and a frog told her that her tears could melt stones. He asked the princess to keep him if he returned the ball. She promised. The frog found the ball and gave it to the princess, but she didn't keep her promise. The frog showed up at her door and asked her to keep the promise. When the king came to know about it, he ordered her daughter to keep the promise. She forcefully agreed and kept him. The next day, the frog said to the princesses that he would leave forever if she kissed him. To get rid of him, she kissed him, and soon he turned into a handsome prince. Unfortunately, he had been suffering a curse that could only be broken with a princess's kiss. Benefits of a fairy tale for your child. Generally, children listen to stories their parents or grandparents narrate before bedtime. It creates an engaging environment for them and helps them get a good night's sleep. Fairy tales are used to address kids' fear and give them some initial exposure to life. They also teach kids to deal with situations and find their place in the world. Here are some other benefits of fairy tale stories. 1. Create a bond between children and elders. When you read bedtime stories to your child daily, it creates a special bond with them. It is important to spend quality time with kids in the hectic modern times. And what better than telling a bedtime story? It also makes the child feel loved. 2. improves the child's imagination. The stories in fairy tales take children to another world with mystical characters, vastly different from ours. It fuels their imagination. 3. Improves their learning. Once Einstein said, "If you want to make your children intelligent, read more fairy tales to them." As fairy tales involve things that don't happen in the real world, it teaches children abstract concepts and not concrete things. 4. Improves concentration and memory. You can repeatedly ask questions about particular events while telling the story. Ask them what, how, and why certain things happened. It makes them listen to the words carefully.
Title